All right, now let's talk about the Dorian mode. Dorian mode is when you flat the third and the seventh from the major scale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Dorian mode in the key of C. Or, I'm sorry, I'm going to do C Dorian, not Dorian in the key of C. So C Dorian. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that C major scale into a flatted third and a flatted seventh. So I have root, ninth, flat 3, 11, 5, 6, flat 7, root. Okay, now on the sheet here it says, you use the Dorian scale over minor chords, especially on when they're functioning as 1, 2, or 4 minor, okay? I'm going to tell you, you can forget that for right now, all right? There's really two minor chords, or two minor scales, that you're going to end up using a lot. There is your Dorian scale, and there is your Aeolian scale. We're going to talk about Aeolian a little bit later, so let's just focus on Dorian, right? It's really up to you, and you can use your ear to decide which of these scales works best for the situation that you're in, right? If you're constantly having to figure out the function of every chord that you're playing, you're going to be all like worked up and you're not even going to be playing anything. You're going to be just trying to figure this out, right? I can tell you that the difference between Dorian and Aeolian is very slight. Okay, there's not that much of a difference. So even if you're playing in the Dorian mode and you slip in an Aeolian scale there, it's not like, the Aeolian police or Dorian police are going to come and arrest you, right? It's not that big of a deal. So what you should practice is practice that Dorian mode by itself to really get comfortable with the sound of Dorian. Now, one thing I would suggest that you do is that you do some of these fourth voicings in the left hand. And you can create a fourth voicing on the root, on the ninth, on the 11th, and on the 5th. So play a root 5 down here. Okay? You can just start with this one. So a fourth voicing built on the 11th of the chord. And that's great because it gives you 11, flat 7, and your third. So see how I'm just messing around with that Dorian scale? So let's do it somewhere else. Let's try E flat Dorian. See how I just move my hands out of the way? So I can move back and forth between C Dorian and E flat Dorian. That's a cool sound moving that minor third. So check this out. Then up to E flat. Now, before people start emailing me like, well, how do you know how to change the scale? You can do any pattern that you want. So go down and then say to yourself, now go back up. All right, down, back up, skip. All right, you can really come up with any pattern that you want. There's no specific pattern that you should use. The point is practice that Dorian scale by itself. Now, if you want, you can also, we'll talk about, Aeolian like I said later, but you can throw in your Aeolian mode as well, right? Now, let's see, what else do I want to say about Dorian? Oh yeah, we need to talk about the avoid notes, which there are none. There's really no notes in the Dorian scale that are going to really stick out as bad notes, except obviously, I mean, like if you were to take your C minor chord and you just keep jamming on that A over here, the sixth, well, it's going to sound pretty tight. One last thing I want to tell you about is that try moving between chord tones and then into your scale. That's a great exercise. Whoops. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was going up to the fourth here, but actually just do root 3, 7 down here. It'll be easier for you. So you see what I did? I went up the C minor 7 chord. Then I can even just do it root position. Or I could do. So basically what I'm doing is I am moving back and forth between playing just chord tones and playing a scale. So chord tones, scale, chord tones, scale. So have fun with that. That's another nice thing that you can work on as well. So anyway, when we come back, we'll talk about phrygian.